Hello, I'd like to talk about shipping a game. Whoa, that was loud. Shipping. Well, anyway, shipping a game is definitely a difficult time. It's hard to let go, and it's something I've talked about a lot with Retrograde, is that, it was very painful to say this is done, this is finished, we're pushing it out the door. And then it was very painful to see the poor sales, and certainly we were pretty pleased with the reviews, but yeah, the sales were depressing. So it's kind of a scary time, and we're finishing up work on the last Nightmare, and then it's just going to be polishing and bug fixing, and I think that the elements are really coming into place for the last Nightmare. In fact, I think it's probably my favorite level in the entire game. Well, it's tough to say. It's definitely, well, it's probably my favorite, or maybe tied for my favorite. I don't know. Anyway, I think we've done some really good work, and I mean, there's some other levels that are really great overall. I'm pretty pleased with the game. In that sense, I'm sort of pleased to get it out there. It's something we worked really hard on, and we think it's really special, but it's also kind of terrifying to let go, and certainly we have less of that on PC and Ouya, because we can keep patching it, and probably after we submit the build for reviews, and hopefully we'll have time to give it to reviewers before we actually open it up to everyone. But before we do that, then we'll have or we'll probably still fix some art and polish some things, and of course I'm sure there'll be bug fixes, and so that's the advantage of doing PC. But I mean, we probably won't be like some games that have a continuous updates, creating new content, things like that, just because it's a single player game, and honestly I feel like it says what I want it to say, and so I'm happy about that. I don't know if everyone's going to be happy about that. Some people are confused with the endings we have now, and the final ending may be even more open-ended, even more confusing, depending on, I don't know. I'm a little sad with how the endings have been received, but I don't really want to change them because I like that they're kind of puzzling and open-ended. I feel like it would not really match the tone of the game if we just, had, here's everything that happened, and here's every element in the game. But I mean, that's something to be scared of, for reviews. Are reviewers going to say, this is open-ended and thought-provoking, or are they going to say, the ending was stupid, and this game wasted my time? I hope they don't say that. Oh gosh, now I'm giving myself horrible waking nightmares of reading that in a review. But I guess maybe they won't. Hopefully they won't. I don't know. I mean, I think we have something cool, but you never know until you get those reviews, and certainly I think people are going to complain about the length. People always complain about the length. But I'm pretty happy with the length. I think it's what we were shooting for. We didn't get quite as many branches in as I had originally intended, but I think they're of a higher quality, which I think is more important. So, I mean, releasing the game today with what we have, I wouldn't really be happy with it, obviously, because some things really need to get finished. But releasing the game, when I think we'll release it, I think I'm going to be pretty happy with the product, and I think that's good. But again, you never know. I mean, I was pretty pleased with Retrograde. I mean, we put a lot of polish on it, and to some extent, a lot more polish than Neverending Nightmares. If you look at the menuing in Neverending Nightmares, they're white words on black, which has the advantage of working very well with the style of our game, but you know, some people had said Retrograde had the best menus you ever seen. You know, I don't know, Justin, my business partner with 24 Karat, just did this amazing thing where each element is these little refractive bulbs with particles behind them, and they fly in and they animate, and I don't even know what they do. It's very complicated. Things unfold. I think maybe I worked on the unfolding part at one point, but I think I also did the little jets on the bottom of the UI signs, but he did all the really good stuff with the lights, little LED things. And so, I mean, like, obviously, you know, that menu took a long time, and all the UI elements, the gauges that no one ever paid attention to for your fuel and your health on the side. Everyone just, we put it on the ship, and we put the effect because no one ever looked in the corners. But those were super cool, and they folded in, and we don't have any of that for Neverending Nightmares. You know, we focused on the game. There's been a lot of extras. We had challenge mode on Retrograde. So, I mean, certainly, you know, I'm sure some people may like the game less than Retrograde, but, I mean, I think, you know, I always think of, like, IGN review scores. They have, like, presentation, which I guess also include, like, menus and UI, and usually, like, I don't know, I just see us getting a 6, bare bone presentation, menus are boring. It's like, oh, does anyone really care? No one cared. I mean, we didn't get a 11 out of 10 for Retrograde with our fancy menus, so I don't know, but I mean, this is just the kind of crap that goes through my head, you know, thinking about releasing the game. I mean, if I had to guess on reviews for the game, you know, I'm expecting probably like low 80s, maybe high 70s, which is not what I'd like to get. I don't know, and maybe I'm setting my expectations a little lower. I don't know. I mean, that's about what we got for Retrograde, so I think it's doable. But you know, I'd like to be in the 80s. You know, 82, 85. 85 is probably about as good as we could hope for, but 85 is really good. A lot of great games. Just getting 85. I mean, you know, obviously there's, you know, the masterpieces or whatever that get, you know, high 80s and in the 90s, but, you know, with aggregation, you know, we'll probably end up low 80s, which I'm happy about. But then, you know, if we don't get that, then I'll be really upset, or, you know, the game doesn't sell well, I'll be really upset, and you're just leading up to release is a lot of work. You know, we got to finish something and show it to reviewers and YouTubers and streamers and all that stuff, so there's a lot of stress, a lot of work, but I mean, I guess it's good that the end is in sight, which but it's also bad, because then, you know, the end is in sight. You know, like, this could be the end of my indie game career, you know, if the game sells poorly, you know, maybe I have to find another job, you know, so I think that's always the scary part with shipping a game, especially, you know, when you don't have a runway, you don't have an established studio, you don't have any, you know, titles in your portfolio that you can, you know, dump into a humble bundle to get an infusion of cash, because I mean, the Retrograde well has been, you know, dry. I don't think we can squeeze any more out of that, or anything significant, and you know, Infinitap's a separate entity, and blah blah blah. So yeah, I mean, it's really scary, but I'm hopeful. I think you know, I think people may really dig the game, but you never know. It's hard to say. So Anyway, thanks for watching, and I guess keep your fingers crossed for me as we lead up to release.